Now, lest you think that this labor is really niche in what it can do, we're going to go and look at an example that people don't normally think of as being impacted by generative AI and AI agents. So, about a couple months ago, I had a problem with my air conditioning in my house. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. It gets really hot here. And I realized that my air conditioning wasn't working. So I called a repair company to come and look at my air conditioning units. And they looked at them, and then they came and they said, we have bad news for you. It's not just one unit, but both of your units are out. And you're going to need to likely replace them because you could repair them, but it's really expensive. And given the age, we think you should, not attempt to repair this leak. We think you should replace the units. And that's suddenly something that I thought might be a few $100s became very expensive. So what did I do? What I did is I went and I tasked some AI labor to give me a second opinion. And the reason I was able to do this is because the repairman was very honest, and he sent me all of these photographs of his equipment attached to my units. Now this seems wild, right? Like, what am I going to do with this stuff? I can't read these gauges. I don't know what any of this means. So I uploaded it to generative AI, just the raw pictures, and I said, what does this show? And it comes back and it says, the field piece is measuring the refrigerant pressures and temperatures in an R410A HVA system. Here's what it suggests. Low side pressure. This 85.2 PSIG. I have no idea what this is. I don't even know how to pronounce it. This is low for an R410A system under normal cooling conditions. Typical pressure should be 100 to 145, depending on outdoor temperature. Possible causes, low refrigerant charge, and it says a leak in parentheses. And this is exactly what he told me. So then I went back and I was like, well, okay, it's starting to confirm what he said. So I went back and I said, okay, would this be expensive if it's the evaporator coil, which was what I was told was likely the issue? And it came back and it says, yes, if it's evaporator coil, this is going to be expensive. And it gave me to patch a leak with epoxy what the cost might be, if it needs a refrigerant recharge, and if it needs the cleaning of the coil, what it might cost. And basically all of these things aligned with the quote that he had given me. So it's confirming that he's being sort of essentially honest and doing a good job, but he's asking for reasonable prices. But then it did something else that was really interesting and helpful. Is without prompting, it came back and it says, what's the best move? And it says, if your system is under 5 years old, check the warranty. 6 to 10 years old, replacing the coil might make sense. But if it's 10 plus years old, you should consider replacing the entire system. And this is exactly what I was told. Now let's think about this for a minute. First off, we don't think of air conditioning and the whole process of interacting with a customer to repair a air conditioning unit is something that's going to be impacted by generative AI. But it is. In the same way that we couldn't imagine all of the ways that reading and writing were going to impact the world, we're going to have a rude awakening for all the different ways that generative AI is going to change everything we do if we put our heads in the sand. But it also means there's a huge world of opportunities of using generative AI. If we think about this alone, there's the opportunity in using it to aid in the diagnosis of problems of equipment and providing information about units and warranties and particular details of a particular piece of equipment and on-demand training. There's the impact that it has on my trust now for that vendor. And if I go in and I get, told by my car dealer that I need to repair a bunch of stuff, you better bet I'm going to now start expecting pictures, and it's going to change the trust dynamic of how we interact with different vendors. It's going to give us the ability to get a second opinion on the fly to try to see if maybe we need to investigate this further and go somewhere else and talk to another human being. It's going to give us the ability to ask follow-up questions for additional information, which would help us find out more about, is this the right decision or not, like the age of the unit. Suddenly, it becomes this really powerful thing, but it's based on that we essentially said, go and give me a little bit of labor, and that labor is to give me a second opinion. But it's also labor that can give you expertise about what does that gauge mean and what is it saying, and some little bit of guidance that's a little bit of AI labor.